Hi, everybody. It's Agnes, and today I have got Scottish Joe with me. Hello, Joe.
Hi, how you doing? All right?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, we've had a little pre-chat behind the scenes, and the topic that is obviously in everybody's heads at the moment is about fear and about the coronavirus going around the world, and it's exploding into bigger and bigger dimensions. And Joe and I thought we would talk about this topic from a Neville point of view, from a law of attraction point of view, from a Ho'oponopono point of view, so that we can actually start to get the focus on things that are wanted and get the focus off the fear and get the focus off things that are unwanted. So, Joe, I'm going to open it up to you because we had some good little nuggets in what we discussed. So, what do you think would be extremely helpful for people right now? Those of us that do study these topics, how can we apply what we know to this particular situation?
So first off, hi everyone. Just want to say for those who are, in massive fear of this condition, this disease, and they actually have family members who are struggling from this, just hang in there. Try your very best to not give this the attention that it seems to crave. That for a lot of people who don't understand these concepts may find that a bit controversial, but I'm sure that by the end of this video, this conversation, you'll probably understand what we're trying to explain from this. So as you can see, there's a lot of thousands of people have died from this, and this absolutely means no disrespect to the people who've died, to the people who are ill. I'm sure, and I wish everyone who is ill from this a speedy recovery in the first off. But for myself personally, I feel that there's been a lot of attention across the world on this, and rightly so, because it's quite a big thing. It's a really, it's a killer disease first off, and there's people dying, which is obviously which we don't want to see from any condition. For myself personally, all I know that is I'm trying everything I can to remove attention from it. Now, understand, obviously, we spoke about this earlier, and yes, where people, it's everywhere in the news, it's in every single outlet you look at, TV, newspapers, it's everywhere. So it can be quite difficult to deviate attention from it. But for myself personally, I always like to think of what Neville talks about when he says that he ignores the papers, he pretty much ignores everything which creates publicity or the potential for bad press, and he remains true to his own vision. Now, understand that when you have family members and you have loved ones who are passing away from this condition, it can be difficult to maintain faith. But I think we spoke about this as well. The conscious aspect of this is that people are creating an awareness of this condition and putting so much negative and so much fear-based, attention on it. So they're seeing people dying, and then people are automatically becoming conscious of this illness kills people. Which what it's like if you are lost in that thought can create of this illness could kill a loved one, this illness could kill myself, this illness, this.
Mm-hmm.
When we know it's a focus-based universe, the more we focus on, the more we create. And I've had my own experience with this, not to the the level of someone dying, but we spoke about this earlier as well, where my own mentor here in Scotland, we had a one-to-one, and we have one every month. And I was talking about the concept of being really busy with work, etc. And I said, I'm a massive sports fan, massive football fan, and I said to him, when I go to a football match, it's 2 hours of a week where I feel completely free. And he said, what would you do if there was no football? So we've unconsciously created that. There is actually no football happening across the world now because of this condition. Mm-hmm. So that is proof that, your thoughts can create, from my perspective, that is proof that your thoughts can create. And it's so important to try and remove attention from what this virus can do and focus on what you actually want. And I think I'm sure everyone in the the world wants this virus to end, this disease to end, not to spread, but yet we continue to focus on how it is spreading. We're focusing on the now as opposed to, you know, desire, what we actually want from this. And I feel that when we focus on, oh, I don't want to get ill, I don't want to get ill, you know, your subconscious, God, universe doesn't understand, no. So you're just putting focus on being ill as opposed to focusing on the disease is over and everyone's healthy and, you know, the world's in a good place, I'm in a good place, loved ones, everything is actually healthy and well, and there's no virus effectively. I think everyone wants that, but we still focus on the negative press, the media, the attention that this disease is creating across the world.
Yeah.
It's I mean, for me, it's just, as I've got family members who obviously I care a lot about, but the best thing I can do is not have attention towards this, and actually put attention on what I do want, and what I do want is for family members and myself to be healthy. And again, we spoke about it earlier, where as humans we seem to be so almost broken, where they tell us to stay in and we want to go out. They tell us not, they tell us, to stay indoors, we want to go out, and it's incredible. They tell us to go out and we want to stay in. We seem to be going against the grain with everything. Happening so much at the moment, and if we really go inside, and as I said, what we do want from this is for this to end. Then, as Neville would always say, go to that end. Don't focus on the middle and the how, and the virus spreading. And if we all can kind of pull together with this and have a consciousness of, this isn't a thing, that I'm healthy, an I am statement. Even if I am healthy, I am well. And there's at that point you take complete focus of away from any virus or any disease, because you're focusing so much on I am well.
Exactly. And I think too, Joe, it's like, because we are being forced, well, it's almost like this is bringing countries together, because we're all in the same boat. We're at different stages, but that really doesn't matter. We are all being told that we have restrictions around the world, and the restrictions are getting tighter and tighter. So I think if we are being forced to stay in more, rather than seeing that as a restriction, see it as an incredible opportunity to go within and to get to the place where you resonate so much with health and well-being and feeling secure that radiates out from you in your little room, in your home, in your neighborhood, and you expand it out. And if there's more and more and more of us that do that, then there has to be a point where that all connects up together, and then the fear will dissipate. But right now the fear is stronger in people than the ability to focus on the wanted. So I think if we can, whether it's people on your channel, on my channel, on YouTube, that we use the whole vehicle of YouTube as a wonderful system to connect with people, to remind those that are interested in this kind of work, to focus on that we can feel secure, healthy, and at peace by sitting in meditation and accessing that feeling, accessing that state, and being and staying in it. That then will infect, in a good way, other people around us. But we have to practice it, because it's almost like you're in the eye of a cyclone where it's really calm and quiet. But then as soon as you open the front door and you go up the road to buy toilet paper, then all the madness starts again. So you go, okay, let's bring ourselves back, and let's just get into that space on a daily basis. I am healthy, I am healthy, I am healthy, I am healthy. And you hold on to that state for extended periods of time. And that brings me to what we talked about before we got on here, the power of Ho'oponopono, because Ho'oponopono talks about that anything on the outside is a reflection, and we have to dissolve the part of us that created that. So if we look at Ho'oponopono right now as we have to dissolve the part of us collectively around the world in different countries, but it starts with one person. It starts with one desire to practice this prayer, to dissolve. And I think the big one is you're dissolving mass fear, the collective consciousness of fear. So the Ho'oponopono can be used to do this singly. You can listen to a meditation, you can repeat it in the silence. It really doesn't matter how you do it, but that you use and train your mind under these incredibly challenging situations to become mentally pinpointed, focused on, I'm going to dissolve the fear in me. I can't do everybody else right now. Yes, I can imagine, people in my life and all of that. But right now I've got to work at the base root, which is dissolving the fear in me, if I have any.
Absolutely. Listen, I 100% agree with that. Everything you've just said is absolute perfection. It's so important. And for me, I know from my own personal experience, I've probably been on a more conscious journey in the last two and a quarter years. This is when it really started for me, and it all started through personal hardship and personal almost trauma. Which created it for me. And I know that the best gift that I got from that was the chance to go in and explore. Some people are really afraid to do that, and I understand why, especially if you've had a traumatic childhood upbringing, adulthood. If you've had such a traumatic experience, it can be, daunting to go and open that door. But the best gift I had was the opportunity to go and explore what was going on in me, and it really made me understand my own set beliefs and my own understandings, my own assumptions, and every single assumption I had in the past became fact, as Neville talked about. Assumption, if you persist in it, it becomes a fact. And any assumption that I had, there was no basis, there was no reality to it, but it actually happened. So you're absolutely right. In this space, if we are restricted, almost be grateful for it, because you are then given the opportunity to actually go inside and go, right, this is happening. Why is it happening? What am I projecting to this experience? What is unfolding within me that is ultimately creating this? People might not want to accept that. I mean, I know I tried my hardest for myself to not focus on it and not give it the attention it craves. But there's so much fear mongering, and there's so much, and I understand why, rightly so. People are dying. Let's not get away from that fact. People are dying from this, okay? But there's so much fear mongering, and ultimately we're all connected by consciousness. The only, as Neville talks about as well, the only reality in this world is consciousness. We're all connected by it. So our conscious fears are ultimately conscious projections upon others. So as you said, we can get to that base root and heal that part of us which has that conscious projection, that conscious fear. We can then expand it, and then everyone can, can almost tap into that. But the best, as you said, if you are forced to stay in and you are in isolation, myself, I'm working from home now because I'm isolated because of my own work requirements. I've got to stay indoors. And there is the ego part of me, which is like, oh, I'm stuck in the same four walls, or this is going to be hard, it's going to be challenging. But as you said, the soul part of me, the spiritual, subconscious part of me is like, this is a great opportunity. You've been, and I know myself, because for the last couple of months, I've been almost complaining about being too busy. And now, in a way, I've created that because now I'm not busy, I'm stuck indoors, can't go anywhere, can't do anything. So it's like, every single thing that created a busyness inside me is just being taken away, and now I have absolutely nothing to other than work to really preoccupy me. And I'm like, perfect opportunity to meditate more, perfect opportunity to write, perfect opportunity to create videos. There's always a light out of things like this, and that's, again, it means absolutely no disrespect to people who are suffering from this, and people who are suffering across the world. But there's always, I suppose it depends on your consciousness about the situation. If you can find that nugget of, I'm actually grateful that I have the chance to go inside and try and heal myself, then, and if I can heal myself, that can have a ripple effect and heal others across the world, then why would I not do it?
Yeah.
Why would I not take that opportunity?
Mm.
People, we've always got that ego, selfish aspect of ourselves, and it's like, oh, I can't do this, I want to go out. And then they go outside, not knowing that they could actually have symptoms.
Mm.
And their stubbornness to go out could actually increase the danger for others who are actually in fear. No one knows.
Yeah.
So, you're projecting that aspect rather than, I want to heal myself and I want to heal the world. And the best way for me to do that is to go inside, as I said, heal the part of me that created it, and project that and project the I am being, I am healthy, I am well, I am secure, I'm stable, all these different things, which can ultimately be projected across the world. Ho'oponopono is probably the best example of that. Being able to go in and just, begging forgiveness of yourself because you ultimately created a conscious fear or a projection of fear of this situation. So yeah, it's an interesting topic, and it's interesting to be able to talk about it from this perspective. Because I think in situations like this, almost as a society, we get very lost in ego, and it has the potential to take us away from everything we know and everything we practice, and it has that potential to really almost weigh us down and get lost in the hysteria that happens outside. I feel personally it's so easy done when we almost neglect everything we've done instead of just going in and going, like, I mean, for me, in the situation I'm in, I could very easily sit on the bed and meditate for 8 hours if I wanted to, just because I have that opportunity to do it now.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, that would have been unheard of. I have the opportunity to have almost a meditation day where I just, totally switch off, unplug for the world, and just go inside.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's obviously people find that a struggle to do.
I think a lot of people do. I think, when we don't spend enough time unplugging, and we keep running from our fears, we keep running from our feelings, we keep over busy, we keep on going on technology, and we don't take breaks, it's like this stuff accumulates. And I find it really interesting to see how many people are really struggling with being at home, and because it's being self-imposed, or that the government's told them, if you've just got off a plane, you need to quarantine yourself for 14 days at home, whatever it is. But I think if you have an issue with being at home or being restricted, as a lot of people are seeing it, you've got to ask yourself, why am I struggling so much with this? Because this is two halves of a nut. It could be seen as an incredible prison, or it could be seen as what a wonderful time to really unplug from everything external and to just be with myself, to read, to sleep, to eat, to cook, to think about what am I going to do to really contribute to this situation in a positive way. And I do think sitting in meditation in different places around the world, everybody contributing to the peace part and unplugging from the fear part, is going to, just as the fear has accumulated and it's skyrocketed around the world, we can do exactly the same thing in the other direction. We can use the power of focus, the power of focusing on feeling loved, secure, because fear and love are opposite forces. Focusing on feeling loved and healthy, like you said before, and at peace and secure within the restriction. If you see it as a restriction, I actually don't see it as a restriction, probably because I've worked from home for a long time, 4 or 5 years now. I love the quietness, and I love the being able to control the environment, and I love the being able to make time to say, hey, I've worked for a while now, let me lay on my bed and do a meditation. Hey, I need a break from the computer, let me go out and go for a walk for an hour and do my affirmations. That free flow of being sort of, just close to home or at home fully, there is such a peace and calm that you are able to plug into because you're not out there in the world all the time. It's a wonderful thing.
Totally agree.
Yeah, it's and you can read more Neville, and you can listen to Joseph Murphy, Abraham Hicks, Catherine Ponder, Wayne Dyer, whoever it is that you love. There's so many fabulous teachers that are true givers. That this is a time for you to spiritually top yourself up, for you to get over your exhaustion, because a lot of people are exhausted, and to really go, you know what, if I have to work from home, and I know some people unfortunately have lost their jobs, because I'm getting a lot of emails that people have lost their jobs due to being in hospitality, tourism, retail, even people that are working in the dating industry, or real estate. I've had conversations with people in all of those industries, and people are really in a lot of fear about their financial future, which is totally understandable. So it's saying, we've got to change those things. We again have to change what's going on within, which is I am secure and I am financially taken care of. Everything is always working out for me. Isn't it wonderful what's happening to me now in the midst of this? If I can access that stuff, those thoughts, those feelings, those beliefs, that state, then you have a chance to be in the 1% of people that survive and thrive, not just survive, but thrive in terms of you as a person. So it's possible to thrive even under these conditions. People were able to thrive in the Depression. They were even able to thrive when the war was happening. This is a similar, it's not exactly the same, of course, but this is our day and age. This is what's going on. That's well, they call it a pandemic. It's a disaster, a catastrophe on so many levels. But it's like, how can I transform this for myself? Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, to grow into something incredible from this. And that's becoming someone who can spend time alone at home. And alone and loneliness are two different things. You can be alone and not be in loneliness, and it's practicing.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that again. It's interesting that you talk about, people, they get so wrapped up in their own personal lives. I know myself, the last few months, I was just saying, really, really busy. Felt like I didn't have a minute to breathe. And now I've went to the polar opposite, where I have so much time on my hands, and it's like, wow, it's literally the other end of the scale. But I think everything's a perception. I feel everything that happens that our senses accept is all dependent on how we perceive it. So if one perceives a certain situation, a certain circumstance, they perceive it differently. You could have 10 people lined up and the same thing happens to them, and all 10 of them act in a different way. So, but having said that, as humans, we're habitual creatures. So we get lost so much in habit, and then when that habit's taken away from us, or as you say, enforced or restricted, then that creates a problem. But it only creates a problem for the ego, because the ego, in its own way, is trying to protect you from what it thinks it knows. When that's fact, the ego is an accumulation of fears, beliefs, assumptions, past events, traumas. The ego is just a collection of all these different aspects, all these different things that happened in the past. And then ultimately what is creating, our projections upon it. But peace, as I said, it could be a perception of peace. People may find comfort and peace in working at 100 miles an hour. People may find peace in, as you said, distracting themselves from what's going on within by doing other things, by keeping themselves busy. But as you said, in this climate, in this environment, we actually have been given the gift to go right. I, almost look in and go, if I'm stuck in the house for a fortnight with nothing to do and nothing to watch or whatever it may be, is that really a bad thing? Is it really as challenging and as brutal as the ego is making it out to be? Because I'm so used and so habited to doing all these different things.
Yeah.
Is it really going to be that bad? For me personally, the ego part of me is it's screaming out like, "Oh, I need something to do. I need something to do." But in actual fact, I'm at peace. I'm at complete peace with everything that's happening. I'm at peace within myself. And I think the best way for me to get to that space, which is obviously been through practice, is meditation.
Yeah.
It's taught me so much to be completely aware of my thoughts to the point where when I have a thought, it's if it's non-serving or if it's a limiting belief, whatever it may be, when these thoughts come in, I'm completely aware of them. And I can remove attention from them, but not ignore them. And I think we spoke about this earlier as well. The difference, people, they want to ignore something, but the more they ignore something, the more they're putting unconscious attention upon the thing. Whereas removing attention from something is, but just focusing on something else. It's not saying I'm ignoring you. It's almost kind of to an extent acknowledging it, but then deviating, almost turning away from it and looking at something else.
Yeah.
So it's not ignoring it, because ignoring it, in a way, I feel, is like a form of suppression. It's a form of trying to get rid of something. I mean, the best analogy I've ever used for do things like this, where if I'm trying to ignore something, I almost see it as like a child crying. If a child was crying in my face and creating a tantrum, I wouldn't try and suppress it, like hold it down or shake it and try and make it go away. A lot of people I found, when you do that, you're making it worse and it's creating a tantrum more. It's creating more, energy towards it. But I'm just like, right, I'm just going to look away for that, because that will tire, that will stop. I'm just, I'm not giving it any unnecessary attention. Somewhat, that's the way I feel about it. So yeah, it's important in this space to be really focused on yourself and actually go on. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It lets you, for me, meditation. If people who watch your channel, or indeed my channel, if they've not properly practiced meditation, you're probably not going to get a better chance to do it than now. Because you're in this space where you've been given the opportunity to go internally.
Yeah.
You really go within and actually focus on your breathing, focus on your thoughts, not be afraid of your thoughts, and not be afraid of your ego, not be afraid of your fears, almost facing them head on and go, right, I've been given this chance. And for me, I'd like to think that by the end of this pandemic, where, there's no more fear about it, people can actually go outside, we're in such a free space to be able to go out and go, there's nothing in this world that can actually frighten me anymore. There's nothing that I'm worried about. There's nothing that, can create such fear in me, because the fear is almost unwarranted. It's all came from things that happened in the past, or my, unconscious assumptions about any situation. One thing also I want to mention about that, it was to do with the assumptions. It's so important to be aware of what you're assuming. And I think in this climate as well, there's so much on social media, there's so much online, there's so many horror stories, there's so much conspiracy theories, there's so much what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, conspiracy theories. There's so much propaganda about everything and where it originated from. I don't understand as a society why we're worried about where it came from. I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, it's happening, and that's it. But we need to focus on the end, not the how, as Neville put it. Focus on the end result, which is it's not there anymore. It doesn't exist. We're healthy. Everyone's healthy. Not on how did it start. Let's blame who started it. It's completely irrelevant at this stage. It's totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
And we get so. For me, I've learned through this as well how people, they're so easily, they're so, what's the word I'm looking for? They take everything they see online as gospel. They see a post and go, oh, right, well, what does this mean? And
Yeah.
it's interesting to see how everything we perceive by our senses, if we are not trained and we let the senses run free, how we are easily, swayed by that, as opposed to focusing internally. We're so easily wrapped up in, we read something and we believe it to be true. Anything we read, social media, I think, has got a lot to answer for it as well, because people will shut posts in from crazy websites left, right, and centre saying, so many more people are dying, this and that, and this is how it started. And it's just, we accept it as true. It's, you have the choice to accept what you believe is true, not what someone else is telling you. It's your choice. It's your choice to go in and believe what you want to believe. Yes, people may read statistics and facts and believe that to be truth, but truth in itself is a perception. It's all a perception of what you feel to be true. I mean, I could, as a random thing, I could look at, the chair you're sitting on and say it's brown, and you could say it's black. My perception, to me, that's real, and to you, the other's real. Who's right? Does it matter? It's all what we perceive to be as true, and we can choose that. No one else gives us has the power over us. We have the power inside to choose what we feel is true and what we feel is real. That's, the way I see this anyway.
Yeah, it's good to look at the mechanics of this and look at it from different angles, because it's I think it's rare that I've seen something, and I'm not watching the TV that much, but just enough to stay informed. But I think, watching the TV is definitely about pouring petrol on the fire of fear for people, rather than really showing things that people are doing to improve this, or the things that are working. They keep showing how it's, they keep showing all the negative aspects of it. So I think we have to, but the thing is, the media is us pushed out. We have to remember that they are only echoing what we've got going on. So we can look at them and go, blame them and do all that stuff that we so easily do. And then go, hang on a minute, this is an extension of us too. So that brings us back to
an internal.
Yeah, internal. The media will stop doing that once we stop projecting through the law of assumption, the law of projection, the fears that we have got inside. We take responsibility for them. We say, you know what, I do feel a bit of fear. I'm going to do a meditation. I'm going to surrender and let go. I'm going to say, I cast this upon the God within and I go free. I am love. I am healthy. I am love. I am healthy. I am love. I am healthy. And then I'm going to practice the Ho'oponopono. I'm going to do those 3 things. I'm going to do them as much as I can. And then I'm going to get up tomorrow. I'm going to do that again. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting you say that about the media, because that's absolutely right. It's our assumptions and our perception of the media, which could in its own way create more of it.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting insight. Again, just for me, as you say that, I've read something this morning that China apparently started going outside again. So they're actually going out and about. So they feel within a couple of weeks that it'll be past, that there's no fear of it anymore. And an interesting thing I read from this, it was a little video, it was like 2 minutes on BBC back here, a guy doing a report. There was people, they were going to a park, but they all had to wear masks still. If you were out and about, you still had to wear a mask. And someone made an interesting comment when the reporter asked the person a question. And they said it was, they felt because they believed in the Chinese government to deal with the situation. So again, as we know through practicing Neville and studying, it's all about beliefs. So if this is one person they feel they're the voice of billions of Chinese people, and they said they had a belief in the Chinese government to resolve the situation, then ultimately the Chinese government resolved the situation because they had a collective conscious belief that this was going to be resolved, and the power of that has created that, that cleansing almost in that massive country. So there's nothing to stop us if we, and yourself, you live in Britain for a lot of the year as well. There's so much propaganda towards the government, towards the Prime Minister. There's so much,
Yeah.
I myself, I'm not political. I don't take anything to do with it. But I
Yeah.
do know there's a lot of propaganda there. There's a lot of stuff. And people aren't taking it as serious as I would like here. Like last night, like the pubs closed in Britain. Everything's closing today, right? Everything's closing. And
Yeah.
people were still out going mental. And you're like, people's not taking any notice. People aren't paying attention because they don't have a belief that the government knows what it's doing.
Yeah.
And for me, when I look at countries like Italy, for instance, they've had more deaths than China, I believe. They've not had as many cases, but they've had more.
Which country did you say?
Italy.
Italy. Yeah.
They've not had as many cases, but they've had much more deaths than China. They've had like 4,000 deaths, and obviously understand that, as I understand, life expectancy in Italy's higher because of the climate, and it's a healthy way of living. So obviously a lot of people seem to live older there, but it's almost like they've not taken note, and it's not until it's really got bad where people are like, right, that's it. No one allowed out the house for a fortnight. It's the same in Spain. As I said, I had family who were in Spain last week, and they were locked in a hotel room for 5 days. Couldn't go out. I'm just like, that's not a holiday. But that's the way they've had to try and control it. And it's getting worse because people are still doing what they want, and they're not taking note. They don't have a belief that it's going to get better. And I think that's the root and the only way we can dissolve that is within, by believing that it is curing or it is cured. If we can have that belief inside that it's done, that it's past, then it will. It can't not. We're just so wrapped up in this. Oh, this is happening, that's happening, another case, another death, and this and that.
We've got to sow different seeds to reap a different harvest.
Totally, absolutely. People are seeing deaths, but they're not seeing the statistic of that death. They're not seeing that, again, no disrespect to those who have died from this because it's horrible. No one wishes death upon anyone. But when they're seeing, these are people who've asked, from what I've seen, are older people who have had the underlying condition, and it's extremely unfortunate, of course. Again, it's controversial to people, especially if you're wrapped in that fear. I don't mean any disrespect at all, but these are people who have actually lived a long life, and then they've contracted an illness the same way in the past people would have contracted pneumonia and died. But when you were old, the same way people when they're old contract a standard flu and they die, but that doesn't get the same publicity. That happens. People die from flu. People die from
every winter in every
absolutely, but no one focuses on it. There's so much. I feel like there's so much media publicity based upon the situation that we seem to take it as gospel. Our senses perceive it, therefore it must be real. Whereas Neville teaches us that what we can see and perceive from our outer senses is no different from what we can perceive in the inner. So why don't we go inside and imagine healthiness? Imagine even reading a news article that's saying that it's cured, that there's no lockdown, there's no isolation, just feeling that reality for a minute, that it's real. It's like that gives such a sense of relief that why would you want to go back to the fear? If you can feel that reality for 1 minute and just feel that relief that there's no condition, that there's no virus, why would you want to go back to the outside where it's telling you everything's crazy, that everything's in danger? I don't understand it. We just, but as I said, we're humans, we're habitual creatures.
Yeah.
We're wrapped in our habits and our practices. But for me, as I say, I'm focusing on my own thing. As I say, I've been given the gift of 2 weeks to be stuck at home. I'm enjoying it.
And what happens after 2 weeks? You reassess after that?
Well, I think the company I'm working for, they're doing it on almost an hourly basis.
Yeah.
They're just going to discuss what's happening. Obviously, they're at the helm of the government, so it's facing the government side. So I could be here a couple of weeks, and then the government could decide, right, no one's allowed out unless you're going shopping.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then so be it. It's more extended time.
So be it. Yeah, exactly.
If I can't externally change anything, everything that I can do for this situation is all internal work.
Yeah.
Why would I not do it? If it could be greater good, and if it's for humanity, then why would I not do it?
Exactly.
It's just the way I see it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that will give the viewers something to think about, just,
Hopefully.
to point them in the direction of hopefully getting a bit of relief, and, using meditation, affirmations, ho'oponopono prayer. And you can even use scripting if you want. I'm happy and grateful now that all of this is behind us now. And you basically write a script that suits the end result, which is that we're all free to move around and that we are all okay. So
and
no matter what country you're in.
One thing I just want to point out with that, with meditation as well, if you're in this space, one thing I will say with this is persist. Don't, sit in the house and then after sitting in 2 minutes with your eyes closed trying to focus on your breath, don't think, oh, this is pointless. Just persist with it. It doesn't, as you talk about, I can't remember the name of the method, it's a Japanese method. I can't remember what it's called. You'll probably
Kaizen.
know. That's the one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be you go and sit in meditation for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Just a couple of minutes, just close your eyes, come into the breath, focus on the breathing, even time it for a minute. And just in that minute space, just be aware of what thoughts are coming up.
Yeah.
And then maybe 2 hours later, sit for a minute, maybe 2 minutes. Slowly build it up, just build your practice. And also for me, I tried meditation at the beginning and I tried going right into the deep end, sitting 20 minutes, and I'm like, it was 20 minutes of just noise. It was just total noise, and I thought, this is pointless. The ego was telling me this is pointless. Now I can actually sit and go, and within a minute, I'm in quite a strong meditative state. I'm just like, I'm watching thoughts, and it's actually quite cool to be able to sit and just see all these thoughts passing, as opposed to getting lost in them. But one thing I will say to people, if you're intending to meditate during this difficult period, is just to persist with it. Don't be afraid of anything that comes up. Don't, after 2 minutes or 2 days, think this is, it's pointless. Just stick with it. Just persist in it, because you will, I promise, you will get to a space where you can be in such a strong awareness of your thoughts that you will get to that space where they have absolutely no power over you at all. Just persist with that. And again, there's so many resources on YouTube, as you know. There's so many different YouTubes where they just have music, and it's just relaxing music. Even if you find that easier to focus on than breathing, listen to the music just for a minute or two, just enough to relax yourself and center yourself, get back to being you, and then slowly build up. Kaizen methods probably the best method for this, because it will get you to such a stage where you'll slowly build up.
I'll put the Kaizen YouTube down below, because it's great the way the guy explains. You're doing small incremental changes for a long period of time, and then you get fantastic results. And there's no big changes. You don't have to make, it's not a shock to your system. You just do it little by little by little.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It was the same for me when I was about 7 or 8 years ago. I was extremely overweight. Like, I was like massively heavy, about 20 stone actually. That was massive, absolutely massive.
Yeah.
And the thing I done it was more the shock to the system, but at the same time it was a little bit of Kaizen, and I didn't even know what it was at the time. So I changed my diet completely, and then that totally changed my attitude. And then I went to the gym, and I slowly done maybe 10 minutes at the gym, then 15 minutes, then 20 minutes, just slowly build up. But I know for a fact that if I had done the diet with the gym at the very start and hammered it, after a week I'd have been like, no, I'm done with
Too hard,
far too much.
Too much change too quick,
Absolutely, And as you say all the time, many of it is a turtle wins a race.
Yeah.
A turtle wins a race, and it's, you slowly build up a strength and you build up a tolerance to it. It doesn't have to be yesterday. It can be slow and gradual, and you go within, and by the end of it, the rewards are just so great that, so much work in yourself that you feel so rewarded and you feel so strong.
Yeah.
I know from my experience that's how I feel when things like this occur. I'm just like, I'm so grateful to have this time. I'm so grateful to be able to sit in this space. I'm so grateful that, that I'm breathing,
Exactly.
Simple as that.
Simple
But
things. Simple things.
it's the simple things that I feel the one thing I've learned from this pandemic is how much as humans we take for granted. I
Yep.
feel like we take so much for granted in this world that this has taught me just to be grateful for every single thing.
Mm.
The clothes I'm wearing, the bed I'm sleeping on, because there's people, let's not forget, in this pandemic, who are the homeless, who don't have anywhere to go. When a country's in lockdown, they could be sleeping rough.
Yeah.
But you have the gift of actually having walls surrounding you and
Yeah.
being grateful for that you have somewhat, protection
Mm.
from it, but there's
Exactly.
people that don't have that, people, we're not all, as fortunate
Mm.
as we seem to be in this climate,
Exactly.
So I think it's important just to be really grateful for that, and
Mm.
be grateful for everything you have, even down to, the cup you drink your tea out of, anything, just be
And
grateful.
the toilet paper. How many
Toilet
times have
paper.
you been grateful for that? Probably not
Oh,
very many.
absolutely, yeah, but that's another chaotic
That's
episode.
become a very hot item and something that we never are grateful for. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's good to remember that this time.
it's incredible though, to see people fighting over toilet roll. I never thought I'd ever see that
I
in my adult
know.
life. I never thought I would ever see it. But
Yeah.
again, as it came from
Mm.
social media, as it came from propaganda, as it came from scaremongering.
Yeah.
But again, it's an accumulated belief that everyone's going to run out of toilet paper. And look what's happened.
Yeah.
Supermarkets have run out of toilet paper.
Yeah. All around the world, not just in one country.
It's absolutely unbelievable. But again, if anyone was looking for proof of how our thoughts and our beliefs create, this
Mm.
is probably the perfect video for it, because we've
Mm.
been sitting discussing for the last, half an hour, however long it's been, talking about how our own thoughts and our own projections have created
Yeah.
somewhat a monster, and everyone else is in the same boat. It may be quite difficult for people to hear, but everyone's in the same boat here. We've all got
Mm.
this subconscious fear that something like this is going to cause, a plague or, death for the world, and it's going to, end mankind. Just take a step back and just be like,
Mm.
okay, it's happening. It was created. I can't change it now, but I can go to the end and I can imagine the end. And the end is it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The end is secured. So why would I not live in that end as opposed to living in this current reality?
Mm.
That's just my opinion of it.
That's it. That's it. Well, I think we've covered it. I think there's lots of good bits in there, and we'll
Yeah,
put the links down below for the things we discussed and your YouTube channel and
yeah,
details for you, Joe, as well. So thank you for coming and spending some
yeah,
time. You're in Scotland, I'm in Australia, and we're both
yeah,
kind of, locked away.
yeah. You're about to go to sleep and I'm just starting
Yeah,
my day.
exactly.
No, it's
Exactly.
been great. It's always a pleasure
Lovely.
getting a chance to speak
Lovely.
to you. It's always,
All right. You want to say
yeah.
goodbye to everybody, Joe, before
Yeah,
we go?
absolutely, yeah. And as I said to yourself, thanks for having me. It's great to get this opportunity. Always is. I'm extremely grateful for it.
Mm,
As Agnes said, my channel videos link's going to be down below.
yep.
Um, Anyone who has any questions, just feel free to email me, drop me an email, and anybody request whatever. I'm willing to answer questions on this. And as I said throughout the video, there's no intention of any disrespect towards anyone who's suffering from this. And I do wish everyone who is suffering from it a very speedy recovery. And I hope that you can find some form of light from this video and
Yeah.
actually get some form of guidance in your own personal journey and development. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And I hope that just listening to a discussion about the positive sides and what we can do has given you a little bit of relief. So thank you for joining us. And I will see you, as always, in the next YouTube.